Hey guys, it's me again. This is part two of adding assignments to your Google Classroom. Today we're going to add Google Form and show you guys how to create that form. And then depending on how long that goes, we may make a second video on how to check that, how to pull your grades from that form, or we may make that a second video. It's important that you get some time to play with forms before you just start launching into it and letting yourself go. So we'll make this very simple. You can see I'm already on the Google page. I want to confirm that I'm logged into my school account, and there I am. Okay. So I want to go back to the tic-tac-toe board or the waffle, whatever you want to call it. But this time I want to go to Drive. Okay, now depending on what you want to do, if you want to create a sheet or you want to create a doc, you can do it from here. But I'm going to go ahead and go to Drive because Forms on mine is not right where it may be on yours. So I'm in my Drive, and here we have all of my Drive assignments. I'm going to go up to New. It's in the left-hand corner. And I'm going to choose More. There we find Google Forms. So this is the generic layout for Google Forms. With anything Google, remember it autosaves, so you don't have to worry about that from home. You can access it from any device. So if you start it now on your laptop, you can go to your desktop. You can work on it from your cell phone in some ways. But we're going to go ahead and create this. We're going to call this the Stay Home Quiz. Why not? Okay. And we're going to go up here where it says Untitled Form. If I just click on that, it's going to choose that same name that I gave the title. Now, if I want to give it a different name than the title of my quiz, that's fine. But that's how I'm going to find it, right there. Okay. Now, we can describe it if we want to, but let's go down and look at the questions really quickly. Okay, our first question can be, how long to wash your hands? Put a question mark there. Now it's going to give me some options of what type of questions this is. By default, it's going to say multiple choice. Okay, and that's what I would probably choose for this style of question. We can do checkboxes, we can do drop downs, we can do file uploads, so on and so forth. I will leave it at multiple choice. Option 1, let's give it a choice of 10 seconds. And then I'm going to go down here and add another option. We're going to call it 20 seconds. Okay, looking pretty good so far. We can add another one. We can go with 90 seconds. Let's give them some wrong answers to make sure that they were paying attention to what the CDC says. We can modify that to say what the CDC says. Okay. Now I want to go ahead and we'll call that one done, just for now. I want to hit the plus sign again. We can add another question type. That we can leave it at multiple choice or check boxes, linear scale. Let's go ahead and do some check boxes. Okay, what should you do okay, so we're going to add some options of wash hands, add another option of sneeze on people. Okay, we can add other options like that. I'm going to go ahead and take a pause and just add another type of question. This time we're going to make this just a paragraph. Okay, so we can kind of play with that. You're more than welcome to add all the different types that you want to, but I want to stop adding questions for a second, go through some of the settings that you're going to want to look at. In the upper right hand corner next to send, we have this little cog wheel. That's the settings for my form. This is where it's very important for you as a teacher. Okay, do you want to collect the email addresses that these come from? I would go ahead and do that. Okay. Limit to one response. Respondents will be required to sign into Google. So that means they're going to have to sign into the Google account or school email, which they should already be done anyway, so we can check that. And then this last one, edit after submit. So if they write an answer and they decide they want to go back and change that answer, do you want them to be able to change their answer? I'm going to go ahead and just leave it off. Why not? When it comes to presentation, since they're going to be taking this at home, it's not going to be likely that they're sitting next to their peers, so we don't really care that they show a progress bar. Probably going to be just a few questions for you anyways. Same thing for shuffle the question order. As a teacher, you know what that, that option already is. We can also make this a quiz. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. Now, there's a couple of different things. Respondents can see what questions they missed. They can see the correct answers. If you were doing this in your classroom, you definitely not want them to see the correct answers because they do share that information. I think we know that as well. I want to leave this for a second, and I'm going to pull up another quiz that I've already created. It's very similar to what you just saw. Okay, I've made this question a quiz. Okay, so I'm going to click on, according to the CDC, how long should you wash your hands? When I made that a quiz, when I click on the question, you see the option for answer key. And that's where I choose the correct answer and how many points I think that question's worth. So down here, what's the minimum alcohol content percentage? You should trust to sanitize your hands or other surfaces. So I made that a question, a quiz question. I can mark that, give it a point value. Down here, I use the checkbox where they check all answers that apply. Wash hands, avoid touching eyes, nose, and mouth. And then I made a last one, which was a short answer question where if someone sneezes or coughs, does that mean they have the coronavirus? Explain your answer. I can make that a point value. So I made this quiz like you would in your classroom, and I sent it to a respondent. Okay, I sent that to my class, sent that to my kids. And I'll show you how to link that later. Okay, but right now you need to play with how to make a Google form. That's just crucial that you play with this. So we're going to go to responses, and here's the responses that I received. Okay, here is what they call the summary page. You know, how many kids did what and how, you know, how good did they do. But I want to look, this is the individual. Sorry, I was at the summary, not at the summary. This is the summary page. Let's look at the individual. So because I did not originally tell it to collect email addresses, I have no idea who that came from. So that's going to be, you know, we want to put that check mark in there. Okay, but I can see here that even without a name, I can see how this individual did on this test, and I can see that they got this question wrong. It was me. Did it on purpose, obviously. You know, we're trying to see how this all works. These questions were correct, and then down here is the check mark. So I want to point out something that you may not know of. It does not give partial credit. So if they did not mark both of these answers, if they marked a third one or they left one off, they would get no points. Okay, no partial credit here. And then down here, because this question had some feedback, you need to kind of self-grade it, but it does give you that option. Okay, so once again, you just have to play with this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video now. We're at 7 minutes, so I don't want to overwhelm you. I don't want to overload you, but I want to go back to the questions 1 second. It's very important that you play with adding these questions. Okay, very important that you play with how to add questions. So, and you can rearrange them. Okay, there you can just drag them around and rearrange them however you see fit. But it's important that you play with how those types of questions and how, if they're going to give you the answers that you want. Okay, if they're going to give you the answer that you want. One question I always start out with is I want to add a short answer. I just want them to answer their name. Okay, what is your name? That helps a lot when you go to that response page. So that whenever they get up here, that this question is, and I can actually make that a required question. And we can go in here and see that in the responses now. See there, what is your name? So there's some things in here that you definitely need to play with, and I'll make another video on how to link this to your classroom and send it to all of your students. And then if I need to, if someone responds said that they don't know how to look at all of their responses, I can make a quick little video on that as well. I hope this helps. I do thank everyone who's sharing this with your peers, sharing this with your colleagues, sharing this with anyone who needs help. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help you guys out because I do this and it's fairly simple for me. But reach out to me, Facebook, email, anything's great. I don't care. I don't mind answering questions. I may not get to it as quickly as you might want, but I'll get to it as quickly as I can. Okay? Y'all have a great day. Thank you.